Karen called cops to my door with lies. Now she's banned from our entire neighborhood. Have you ever experienced the chilling violation of your personal peace, your sanctuary, when someone weaponizes authority with baseless accusations, turning your quiet life into a public spectacle? I'm Maya Rodriguez, and my home, a vibrant, artistic bungalow nestled in the heart of the meticulously manicured community of Harmony Heights, was my haven. It wasn't just a house. It was a hub of creativity, where I ran a small, online art gallery specializing in abstract expressionism and hosted intimate, monthly workshops for aspiring local artists. My backyard, a sprawling, colorful space filled with large, expressive canvases and quirky sculptures, often served as an open-air studio, a source of inspiration and community connection. Then, Ms. Brenda Sterling arrived. Brenda, the newly elected, self-anointed queen of the Harmony Heights Homeowners Association, saw my artistic endeavors not as cultural enrichment, but as an unacceptable disruption. She was all sharp angles and sharper pronouncements, a woman whose perfectly coiffed blonde hair and designer activewear screamed unapproachable perfection. Her first official act, it seemed, was to send me a curt, imperious letter demanding the immediate cessation of my commercial nuisance and the removal of my garish outdoor art. It was, according to her, a visual blight, attracting undesirable elements, and a clear violation of community aesthetic guidelines. Her ultimate, thinly veiled demand was for me to shut down my gallery, dismantle my studio, and conform to Harmony Heights' elevated standards, effectively stripping my life of its passion and livelihood. Her tone was dripping with condescension, her words a thinly veiled threat against everything I held dear. She looked at my art, a testament to freedom and beauty, as if it were a festering wound on the pristine landscape she envisioned. I tried to reason with her, calmly explaining that my gallery was online, generating no foot traffic, and my workshops were small, private gatherings of local artists, not a public nuisance. I even offered to host a community art show, showcasing local talent and demonstrating the positive impact of my work. Brenda merely waved a dismissive hand, her perfectly manicured nails glinting. "Ms. Rodriguez," she purred, her voice a brittle whisper of disdain. "Your hobbies are simply not suited for the elevated standards of Harmony Heights. We are building a community of distinction, and frankly, your chaotic installations detract from our property values. The bylaws are clear. No commercial activity without HOA approval, and all outdoor spaces must be uniform and manicured." Her words, delivered with an air of unassailable authority, left no room for debate. She was not interested in art or community. She was interested in control and conformity. The true nightmare began on a sunny Wednesday afternoon. I was in my studio, putting the finishing touches on a new large-scale piece, when I heard a frantic banging on my front door. My heart pounded with a mix of fury and disbelief as I opened it to find two police officers standing on my porch, their faces grim. Behind them, standing on the sidewalk with a triumphant smirk, was Brenda Sterling. "She's running an illegal business," Brenda shrieked, pointing at my house. "And she's got hazardous chemicals in her backyard. It's a public health hazard." The officers, looking skeptical, asked to see my studio. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just an annoyance. It was a direct, malicious fabrication, a blatant attempt to weaponize law enforcement against me. As the officers cautiously entered my studio, Brenda, emboldened, tried to follow them, peering over their shoulders. "Look at all this mess," she exclaimed, gesturing wildly at my paints and canvases. "And the smell? It's toxic." Just then, a glint of red caught my eye. Tucked discreetly on a shelf, a tiny, motion-activated security camera, disguised as a paint tube, was blinking faintly. My heart leaped. I had installed it weeks ago after noticing some strange incidents of minor vandalism around my property. I quickly accessed the camera's live feed on my phone, and a quick rewind revealed a shocking truth. The video, time-stamped just moments before the police arrived, showed Brenda Sterling, not on the sidewalk, but stealthily creeping onto my property, sniffing exaggeratedly at my open paint cans, and then, with a grimace, deliberately spilling a small vial of what looked like cheap, pungent household cleaner onto one of my canvases, then quickly wiping her hands on her pristine white pants. She was planting fake evidence. And then, the chilling climax. Her quick retreat to the sidewalk, followed by a theatrical phone call, presumably to 911, where she dramatically described noxious fumes and illegal commercial activity. And then, a chilling detail. The camera also captured a brief, whispered phone conversation Brenda had just before entering my yard. She was speaking to a man I recognized as Mr. Davies, the CEO of Pristine Properties Management, a company known for its aggressive tactics in acquiring and redeveloping properties. They were discussing the final phase of their plan to acquire a large section of Harmony Heights, including my property, claiming it was underutilized and non-compliant. Brenda's plan was to force me out, allowing Pristine Properties to buy my land at a reduced price, and then redevelop the entire block into a new, exclusive artisan village, where she, as a silent partner in Pristine Properties, would control all the vendors and profit handsomely. This wasn't just about my art. It was a calculated, high-stakes conspiracy, threatening not only my home but the entire character of our community. Armed with this irrefutable evidence, the security camera footage of her trespass, sabotage, and fraudulent phone call, and my detailed knowledge of Pristine Properties' recent land acquisitions, I resolved to confront Brenda publicly. I learned she had called an emergency HOA meeting, ostensibly to present a new community initiative, the Harmony Heights Artisan Village, and to address the ongoing issue with Ms. Rodriguez's non-compliant and environmentally hazardous property. I arrived, my evidence ready, just as Brenda, radiating an almost unbearable smugness, began her presentation, complete with glossy renderings of the new artisan village sprawling across what she claimed was underutilized HOA land. I waited for a lull, then stood up, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "Brenda," I stated, holding up my tablet with the security camera video paused on her mid-sabotage face. "I believe this footage and your recent actions sheds a rather inconvenient light on your artisan village initiative." Her eyes, which had been sparkling with self-satisfaction, immediately narrowed. She quickly recovered, her voice sharp. "Ms. Rodriguez, I have no idea what you're talking about. This is a private HOA matter. You are disrupting our proceedings, and your dramatics are quite unnecessary." She attempted to rally the other HOA members, painting me as a disgruntled, obsessive artist, a nuisance to their refined community. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is precisely the kind of element we are trying to remove from our beautiful Harmony Heights. But just as she was about to call for me to be removed, a quiet, unassuming woman named Dr. Anya Sharma, a renowned urban planner and community advocate who lived in Harmony Heights and had been quietly researching Pristine Properties land dealings, rose from her seat. "Actually, Ms. Sterling," Dr. Sharma interjected, her voice calm but authoritative, "Ms. Rodriguez raises a very serious point. And I also have something to add." She then projected a series of public land records onto the screen. Clear, undeniable images showing the common green space as a designated public easement and a critical historical landmark. "This proposed artisan village," Dr. Sharma continued, her voice gaining strength, "is a direct violation of county zoning laws and historical preservation acts. It threatens to destroy a vital public space and would illegally privatize public land." A collective gasp rippled through the room. Before Brenda could even stammer a denial, the doors to the community hall swung open. Two stern-faced police officers, accompanied by a representative from the district attorney's office, walked in. They had been tipped off by Dr. Sharma, who had contacted them after seeing the suspicious activity around my property and confirming my initial suspicions. "Brenda Sterling," the district attorney's representative announced, his voice devoid of emotion, "you are under arrest for criminal trespass, vandalism, attempted fraud, and conspiracy to commit land appropriation. We have irrefutable video evidence, and a full investigation into Pristine Properties Management and your alleged land deals is underway." Brenda's face, which had been a mask of carefully constructed composure, crumbled into a terrified, pale mess. Her jaw went slack, her eyes darting wildly around the room, searching for an escape that wasn't there. She stammered, then erupted into a desperate, high-pitched shriek, blaming misunderstandings, overzealous contractors, and a misunderstanding of the land deeds. It was the pathetic wail of a tyrant whose kingdom had suddenly collapsed. Then, A surprising voice emerged from the crowd. Mr. Peterson, a long-standing, quiet member of the HOA board and a respected local real estate developer, stood up, his face etched with regret. "And Ms. Sterling," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "Perhaps you'd also like to explain why you pushed so hard for this Artisan Village project, not for the community's benefit, but because Pristine Properties Management, the company you're so eager to partner with, is secretly owned by your estranged sister, and you intended to use this deal to secure a massive personal commission and a controlling interest in her future projects, all under the guise of community enhancement." The revelation hung in the air, a final, poisoned arrow. Brenda had been exploiting the HOA not for the community's benefit, but for her own illicit financial gain and to secure her sister's failing business. The fallout was swift and brutal. Brenda was immediately stripped of her HOA presidency, her reign ending in public humiliation and a perp walk captured by local news. The police and district attorney's office launched a full-scale investigation, leading to severe fines and criminal charges for trespass, vandalism, environmental violations, and attempted land appropriation. Pristine Properties Management, facing legal repercussions and public outrage, immediately lost their lucrative contracts and faced a barrage of investigations, leaving Brenda utterly isolated and financially ruined. She lost her position, her reputation, her social standing, and faced a future of crushing debt and legal battles. Her karma was a public, humiliating spectacle, a direct consequence of her petty tyranny and audacious fraud. The HOA, now under new, more sensible leadership, issued a formal apology to me and, in an unprecedented move, passed a new bylaw. Brenda Sterling was permanently banned from entering any common areas of Harmony Heights, and her property was placed under strict monitoring for any future violations. I felt a profound sense of vindication, a quiet triumph that justice, however painfully achieved, had prevailed. My studio and gallery thrived, now with even more support from the community, who had seen through Brenda's veneer and rallied behind me. My home remained my sanctuary, a place of peace and creativity, now even more cherished. In a world where bureaucratic power can become a weapon, and individual ego can lead to audacious exploitation and criminal acts, where do we draw the line between upholding rules and protecting personal property and the environment? When faced with such blatant disregard for rights, safety, and the well-being of others, what would you have done?